Hey everyone, welcome to today's Feather webinar. I'm joined by Brock, my colleague. Welcome.
Hello.
Not 100% sure if you're seeing both of us or just whoever's talking. I think it might be one at a time. But yeah, really happy to have you on here, Brock. Brock works on the services side of Feather, and so he is always in the weeds, actually working on campaigns, working directly with Feather users to help them solve pain points, find ways, creative ways to reach their audiences using Feather. And yeah, so we're going to be talking specifically about Affinity campaigns today. I think most of the people in the audience are Feather users, so hopefully Affinity targeting sounds familiar. Some of you might be using it already, so you might be on here to, get some tips or just get a little bit more context on the ways that you can use it. If you're in Feather and you haven't started using an Affinity campaign, if you've never launched one before, hopefully this will give you some inspiration to get started. And then if you are not a Feather user, welcome. Hopefully this is helpful for you just to get a kind of walkthrough of this particular campaign type in Feather. You'll get to see a little bit inside the app. We'll show some examples of real users and kind of walk you through what it can look like to build this campaign type in Feather. But there's plenty more that you can see if you actually want to do a deeper dive into Feather. So I'll offer some options at the end for you to get more personalized walkthroughs. So go ahead and drop where you're joining from today, just so we can get the chat going a little bit. And then we'll start in just a minute or two. Got some Northeast. Oh, Pittsburgh. Yeah, lots of Northeast. I'm actually moving to Philly
Hey,
in
Amber.
a month or two.
Sorry to cut you off, Issa. I see a few people in here that I know. Hello to everybody that I know.
Yeah, I feel like you'll probably recognize a good number of names in here because,
Atlanta in the house.
yeah, Florida, Miami. Welcome, Lauren. I'm in Gainesville, Florida right now, which is where Feather is headquartered.
I'm in Fort Collins, Colorado, which is certainly not there. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Hey, Katie. I'm from Manitowoc. Another cold, cold, cold place.
Yeah, cool. Connecticut, nice. I was born in Connecticut. It's a small world, if you really think about it. We're all from everywhere. Cool, cool, cool. Alrighty, welcome to the Canadians. Got a few of those too. Cool. I think we can go ahead and get started just because this is going to be a short one today. So let's dive in. I'm Issa Hasty. I'm the Senior Manager of Product Positioning here at Feather. So I'm on the marketing team. I host a lot of our webinars. So if you attend our webinars, you might have seen me already. This particular webinar, we wanted to really focus in on how you can run a specific campaign in Feather. So it is really geared at you customers who are in the app and seeing it every day. But we also invited non-customers because sometimes you want to get sort of that inside view of what the platform looks like before you sort of take the leap. And so hopefully this gives you that visibility into what Feather would look like for you if you're not using it. So yeah, again, I will offer an option at the end for you to get a more personalized demo if you'd like. And also we will be sending out the recording and the slide deck tomorrow. So keep a lookout for that in your email inbox. And then I'll pass it off to you, Brock, to keep it going.
I am Brock. This is me from like over 10 years ago. So not much has changed about my hairline, thankfully. I'm the customer success team lead. So I work with you all, not you all, but a lot of you actually. I'm seeing a lot of familiar names of people here. So hello to everybody that I know. It's great to see you again. And thank you for joining. I'm so happy to be talking about affinity campaigns because this is simultaneously, I think, one of the most powerful and one of the most like misunderstood campaign types that Feather can offer. So super happy to be clearing up some of my favorite best practices. And even if there's some time at the end, we can jump into some examples that you might bring. So let's keep going here. The agenda today for today's call is going to be discussing some of the basics about what affinity targeting is. how to craft your audience, which is going to be where like the real meat is, and then some use cases and real examples from Feathr users like you. So, what is affinity targeting? Feathr has a few different campaign types where we can target net new audience members. You're likely familiar with most or all of these, but if you're only interested in targeting people in a specific location, geofencing is your best bet there. You can draw a circle with a 1 kilometer radius around any point in the world, or certainly in the United States and Canada, and target anybody who's in that. If you wanted to target people based off of what they are searching for online, you can run a search keyword campaign and upload a CSV of the search terms that you think your audience would be looking for. If you are interested in finding an audience that is similar to your existing audience without putting in any of the work yourself to determine what those demographics or industry segments might be, you can use a lookalike segment in a Pixel Plus campaign. This is a relatively new functionality that we rolled out a couple of months ago, and we're seeing some great results with it. And we're still tinkering with it, getting it even better. But I'm really excited about that one. But we are here today to talk about affinity targeting, which we can use to target people based off of who they are, which is, I think, really exciting because this lets us get a lot more nitty-gritty than a lot of people currently are doing. So, as a broad overview here, we can target people based off of three main categories. These include industry, which is people's job titles, job characteristics, seniority at their job, or time in an industry. We can target based off of their demographic. Do they live in a house or an apartment? What is their income? What is their education level? Do they have 2.5 children and a white picket fence? We can also target finally based off of in-market, which is what are people buying? Are they shopping for a new car, a new boat, a new house? Are they in the market for a credit card or an auto loan? These are all things that people could be spending their money or are historically used to spending their money on. And we have lists of the cookies that represent people that are taking those actions. This all comes from third-party data. So we receive our lists from market research firms that get their information from the big data vendors of the world. Think like Experian and Equifax with all of your credit card data, Kroger for like in-market groceries, um, tons and tons of data points that can be boiled down into things like credit cards, online browsing behavior, travel bookings, demographic surveys. One that's not on here, but scares me the most is location. Frequently visited locations, whether you are known to spend 30 minutes every Sunday in a Taco Bell parking lot eating your quesadillas. Um, People know that, and they make they make groups based off of that data. So these market research firms, they buy the data, they package it themselves, and then they provide us as Feathr and Feathr users access to the cookies that they collect as part of that data. So Feathr itself does not create these lists. We do not control these lists. We are just the recipient of them. So we don't have that information on you. We don't want that information on you, but other people do, and we can use it for good. So,
Just real
uh,
quick, Brock.
yes.
So this is a campaign that is available. These lists are available within Feathr. So even though Feathr doesn't pull that data itself, we can pull it in from these data providers, and you can access that in Feathr at no additional cost. So that's built into the platform. So if you're already using other campaign types, you can run this type of awareness campaign as well. So it might sound like you're pulling data lists or something that you'd have to pay extra for, and that's not the case. So for anyone new to Feathr, it's built into the platform.
Thank you for that clarification. Yes, absolutely. So, what are we trying to do with these affinity campaigns is what I'm hoping to answer with this slide here. So, these campaigns are usually about reaching new audiences, and they're not focused generally on immediate conversions. And there's always caveats there where an affinity audience might be perfect to replicate a known audience of yours, or it might be perfect to focus on a specific conversion, and we'll get into some of those use cases. But for the most part, we are finding new audiences and growing our funnel, our conversion funnel. So these ads, generally, the metrics for these ads, we want to focus on impressions, views, and clicks and click-through rates. Um, Sorry, this was like views per user. So really, we're trying to build an audience with these ads that we can then hopefully move into the cultivate and activate segments of the conversion funnel. Now, a lot of that requires the proper messaging. And in order to really address the top of the conversion funnel, you're really trying to create some sort of a familiarity with your audience because they may know about you if you're a large organization or an association in an industry. They might not know about you if you're a smaller organization. There's no way to determine whether they do or do not know about you. So a lot of what you're going to try to do here with an affinity campaign is just create familiarity before you ask something of that audience. Now, when you are creating these ads, of course, like you're not necessarily just branding. Um, so you might have a call to action of learn more. This is probably the one that I see the most. That is a strong call to action if you are introducing your organization to a new audience. But some more interesting ones might be if you are targeting people that you believe might be visiting a city for a conference. You can ask them to visit booth 123 for a free drink token, then get them talking to you. I've seen a lot of fun success with that one. Um, if you are targeting an audience of people that are attending live events, you can have a call to action of see a show near you. Of course, you're able to target all the way down into a city. So if you're in New York, that is a really large area. But if you are in, like me, Fort Collins, Colorado, I can drive to the end of the city and back in 15 minutes. So seeing a show near me is a very easy call to action for somebody in my position. Um, so really, when you're thinking about calls to action, I want you to be thinking about what can provide value to the viewer of this ad, because that's what this is meant to do. You're not going to use this to generate a large amount of donations outside of some specific donation days, like a regional day of giving or Giving Tuesday. Um, but what can you do to provide value to the viewers so that they think of your organization in a positive light? And then when it is time to make that donation, perhaps you'll be able to uh, move them further down into the conversion funnel. By the way, I do see some chats coming in. I'm not able to read those right now, but Isa, if you want to interrupt me with anything timely, please feel free. Otherwise, I'll just keep moving on. Um, This section here is how to craft your audience. This is the meat and bones of the um, presentation. So I'm actually going to be going kind of back and forth here to an actual Feathr account. The first sort of scenario that I want to, or thing that I want to impart here is like how to find the audience in the first place. So when you make an affinity campaign, your first step is going to look just like this. It's going to have an affinity category dropdown and an affinity audience dropdown. If you take nothing else from this presentation, I would love for you to remember that the category is not required to find an audience. The category will narrow down the audience, and if an audience is not necessarily categorized the way that you think it might be, based off of the industry segment or the demographic segments here, then you're not going to be able to find an audience if you select an affinity category. So if you have time to be scrolling through a few extra audiences, I always recommend skipping the category and just jumping straight into the audience as long as you know what you are trying to search for. So the first example that I have here, going back here, is kind of a brute force way to find an audience. So I know that there's some higher education organizations in the audience today. Hello. Um, One of the ways that we can search for audiences is just by typing in a theme. So college is something that you might be interested in looking through here. So I'm just going to scroll down to give a little extra room here to see. We have tons and tons and tons and tons of audiences here. I stopped here at parents of teenagers going to college. And I want to kind of take you through what I'm seeing as I'm looking at this. So this has 50 million cookies. That's a nice large segment. The breadcrumbs that I can see are right below that. So this is a market research firm that targets based off of lifestyle and then life stage and then family and then finally parents of teenagers going to college. But what we're actually looking at in this one here is the description. People researching and comparing academic programs and college admission applications with their teenagers. So with this one, it's a little confusing. Going to college in this scenario actually means like they're going to go to college, not they are actively in college. So it's always worth reading this description and trying to parse out the information that you can from it. I also want to just do a bit of a deeper dive on this because you can go a little bit further once in a while. So if I take this, parents of teenagers going to college, I'm just going to type that in right now. I actually see a few different groups here. So there's different confidence levels in this specific audience. Three different audiences that represent the same people, but to different degrees of confidence. So the first one that I chose was rather broad, people researching. There's an extended one that actually has 117 million people. Did I say 1,000 earlier? Well, 117 million people. And then in extreme confidence, where they zoom down into like the very, very most like smallest and precise demographic here. 4 million people nationwide who are researching and comparing academic programs and college admission applications with their teenagers. So, if you want to be certain that everybody in your audience is a parent of a teenager and they are researching universities, this would be the one to use. Of course, with only 4 million cookies, this does restrict your ad a little bit more than the 50 million or 117 million. So, which one you choose is up to you. This is all like good things to know and things that you would not notice just by reading the title here. When we're jumping back here into the slideshow, I do want you to know the second bullet point here, lots of scrolling. This is a brute force method. This is for you to use when you have 10 minutes available to be scrolling and reading and researching. And once in a while, maybe even looking up the market research firm that created the group if you're able to find it. Those might be in the description, it might be in the breadcrumb, it might be non-existent, but if you are interested in learning more about your audiences, it might take you a little bit. Frankly, this is my preferred way to create this audience because I'd rather spend 10, 15 minutes getting it right than spend hundreds of dollars on a suboptimal audience.
I think you also come across things that you might not have thought of yourself, like as you're
Absolutely. Yeah.
scrolling through. I think this is a good moment to pause and answer the question and hear from
Hmm.
Nicole. So she says, we're a nonprofit using the Google Ad Grant and Feathr campaigns in tandem, but we
Yeah.
can't target certain mental health, addiction treatment, human service keywords without legit script certification due to their sensitive nature. Is there any way to use affinity or audience targeting to still reach people who work in or are interested in these fields? So while you were chatting, Brock, I pulled up Feathr and did a quick kind of search. You probably are much better at this, but I was looking for people who are in the healthcare industry. And then I typed in a few keywords and things did come up. So I typed in mental health. We got a couple of those. If you work with like rehab centers, patients that are in rehab centers, you could type in rehab as a keyword, see what comes up there. So there's a lot that you can do, especially if you are doing Google Ad Grant, you probably have a good hold on like what types of keywords you want to be focusing on in the first place. So sometimes those keywords I think can be a really great place to start in terms of typing in those keywords into an affinity campaign and seeing what you can build from there. So yeah, I'd love to hear, Brock, if you have any other ideas for what Nicole could do for something like this, but it's pretty.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a part in the presentation to come, but we can jump there right now. You can also type in a partial word. So your word has to match, the words that you type in have to match what's in the title or the breadcrumbs in some fashion. So I'm just going to clear it out here and try again with like therap. This was my example later in the presentation. So when you type in this, you can target people who are therapists. You can target, uh, I think there might be like therapy down here. Yes. Well, okay, massage therapy. Not necessarily what we would be looking for in that scenario. Or people shopping for a brand called Clear Scalp and Hair Therapy. Um, so again, it takes a little bit of scrolling, but if you have a base word here that is part of what you are looking for, that is really the best place to start. So mental health might give us some options. Mental health therapist. This one is a little bit small with 62,000 people, but if you have a smaller budget, this would be a great one to target. All right, I'm gonna keep going then. Um, the next example is going to be combining audiences. So you may have noticed here in Feathr, I don't know why I keep going full screen on that. There's a little toggle here between any of the following and all of the following. And I did a little bit of research and found that there is an organization here that's hosting a beer fest, which is very close to my heart because I started my career in marketing for a brewery. And if we type in beer, there's lots of audiences here, of course, of people who buy beer, go to breweries. Um, Hopefully this loads here, and I didn't just, yeah, there we go. Root beer, beer, so on and so forth. But if we choose beer and brewery here, this is users identified as in the market for beer and brewery who are searching for beers in reviews or visiting beer tasting events, brew pubs, and breweries. If I choose this, I can also combine it with another group and find people who attend live events. I guess I don't necessarily need to wait for these to load every time, but here we go. So people who are going to live events. Now, this is targeting like the entire Venn diagram currently because I have it selected to any of the following. But when I target all of the following here, now we're targeting an audience of people who care about beers and breweries and who attend live events. If you're running a beer fest, this is your audience. This is me. So there's also a construction company in here. If you're looking for general contractors, it might behoove you to focus on people who are in the general con or building construction general contractors industry and who are small business owners, because when you layer those on top of each other, then you're targeting people who own a general contractor business, which is likely going to be better for your purposes than targeting people who are just general contractors on its own. Now, the last unique use case that I have here is competitor terms. So if you are a zoo, somebody's nodding, then you can type in zoo, and you might find that zoo on its own is not a category, which is a little strange, but San Diego zoo buyer propensity is. So these are people are in the top 5 to 10% of uh, individuals who are most likely to go to the San Diego Zoo, regardless of where they exist. This is based um, off of their behaviors, not necessarily their locations. So if you are a zoo and you want to target people who go to zoos, maybe you can target people who are going to the San Diego Zoo. Or if you're a food co-op, and I've worked with a few, Whole Foods is probably your largest competitor, that or like the local farmers market. So if you wanted to target people who are visiting Whole Foods, that would be a good place to start to find an audience of people that might be interested in your grocery store, your co-op.
And geofilters are an important thing to throw into all of these campaigns. So, for example, if you are using that San Diego zoo propensity, obviously that's a tourist destination as well as a local zoo. So, a lot of San Diego people might be going there, but a lot of people come from out of town and go to that zoo. So, those people are all over the country, and some might be local to you or coming to your area too. So, it doesn't mean that they all live in San Diego or anything like that. There's that purchase history of having gone to that zoo. So therefore we can sort of surmise that there's an interest in zoos. So yeah, putting geofilters, if you are, a local, small town zoo or something like that, you want to add geofilters to make sure that you're targeting people who are near you or targeting tourist destinations near your zoo. But you can still add on that layer of they purchased this ticket in the past, so we know that they're zoo goers and we know that they are nearby or they're going to be nearby.
Yeah, exactly. So I just kind of did that here. If I represented the Denver Zoo, I could choose Colorado as my geofilter and show ads to anybody in Colorado who would be likely to go to the San Diego Zoo. That would also be the market that would be interested in me. Paul, if we are in a niche field and don't see many relevant audiences, can we request additional ones be added? The answer to that is not necessarily, but we are working on it. We are trying our hardest to expand the audiences responsibly so that we are only creating or only giving you options of good audiences to target without also overwhelming you with choices. So there will be more to that, more on that to come hopefully within the next couple weeks. But if you are not currently seeing anything in your niche field, I would actually recommend a search keyword campaign to target those individuals who are searching for the more niche things. Um, the narrower you're targeting, the more likely I am to recommend that search keyword unless we're able to find it here in an affinity campaign.
Talia, hopefully that answers your question as well. If you're still on here, Talia asked a similar question about a very niche medical field. They're a medical society. So, yeah, sometimes affinity is not the appropriate way to go. If you kind of have like a very, very well-defined target audience and they might be a little smaller or more niche, you kind of know who they are. They just might not be on board yet. And so I think targeting them in a more personalized way through search keyword and email mapping, if you have their contacts, but they haven't visited your website recently, that's another great way to do it. Real quick, since we are coming up on time and I know people might start having to drop off, I'm going to launch a really quick poll. Um, here. So go ahead and drop. I'm just curious if anyone wants to get a more detailed walkthrough. So if you are new to Feathr and you would like us to walk you through this and other campaigns that are available to you, go ahead and put I am new to Feathr, and then customers who are already using Feathr, if you want us to connect you with your customer success manager, put that second option and we will hook you up with a call with them and you can talk about Affinity or whatever else you want to talk through. So cool. See lots of answers coming in there. Thank you guys.
All
Uh,
right, I'm going to trudge forward, and if we go a little bit over, I can certainly swing that. So, uh, the basically a summary of what we've talked about here is to read the descriptions to make sure they're applicable to you. You can use partial words when you're searching to make it a little easier to find variations of that word. Do pay attention to audience size because that will determine your total potential market. And also keep in mind these are devices or cookies, not individual people. So 5 devices might equal 1 person if you're wondering why an audience is so large. Um, it is fun to run these and see some known audiences come up in the audience of people who viewed your ads. If you see that, that's fantastic. That means you know that you're fishing in the right place. And finally, always use geofilters. This is bolded. Please, please, please never skip that geofilter section because you could be serving your ad nationwide or worldwide without actually realizing it.
And that's obviously just a waste of budget. You do not want to be serving these ads to people all over the world if you are trying to just reach a local or smaller audience.
Okay, so I have some unique use cases here. Instead of geofencing in an industry like annual meeting, you could consider using an affinity campaign to find the audience of people in that industry who are in a specific city during that time frame. I actually find that this is more likely to target a higher percentage of those individuals than painting that like 1 kilometer radius circle around the building that they're all going to be in. You can also use this audience to retarget later and exclude that original city so that you're targeting people who, in the retargeting segment, people who exist outside of that city when that event is not happening. That one's a little tricky to wrap your mind around, but eventually, like essentially what it does is you're targeting industry people who were in at that meeting and are no longer meeting there, so they have traveled to that location. There are some reasons to run these campaigns just for branding. If you are like rebranding your credit union, I saw someone in here who I worked on some branding campaigns with a long time ago. These are a fun way to do that. And they don't necessarily need a call to action if branding is your main concern. Um, Affinity campaigns are really good for broad targeting for broadly applicable topics. Um, Food banks do really well targeting donors and philanthropists because everybody has a stomach and everybody knows what it's like to feel hunger. So when you're able to have that broadly applicable ask to a broad audience, it does make the ask easier. You can also recreate your known best audiences with affinity campaigns. If you know that this demographic, males age 45 to 55 are most likely to do the thing that you want them to do, you can find those audiences in an affinity campaign. And lastly, if you're a nonprofit that serves clients, you can find clients with affinity campaigns, people in the demographics or the interests or the needs that you serve. So these are some unique use cases that I've seen a lot of success with that you might not have thought about previously. I recommend doing a little brainstorming and seeing if any of these apply to you. All right. We have some real life use cases. Um, I worked with Warm Beach, so I'm going to deliver this one here. Warm Beach Camp and Conference Center created the Lights of Christmas, and despite my despite what I told them, they said, "No, we want to target moms. We don't want to zoom in any further than that." I was like, "Okay, we can target moms who are this and this and this." Or they said, "Well, every mom would like to do this, so that's what we're going to target." And you know what? They were right. They know their audience, and they did a fantastic job with this Lights of Christmas. They got so many people to go to this. It is one of the most successful affinity campaigns that I've ever seen run or been part of running myself. And it's all due to their understanding of their audience that it was so successful. So don't necessarily listen to me or listen to us. You should know your audience better than we do. And they're in there somewhere. Your audience is in those affinity audiences somewhere. Issa, I'm going to pass it back to you for this one.
Okay. I'm going to launch another quick poll now that I have the mic. We have a weekly newsletter that goes out on Wednesday mornings. A lot of you are already subscribed. I can see that. But this is a great nonprofit resource for anyone who's looking for kind of a go-to source of truth every week with tips, tricks, industry news, things like that. So go ahead and put a yes if you want to be subscribed to that. And we also have an association specific version now. So we have one that goes out for nonprofits, 501(c)(3)s, arts and culture orgs, and now we have one for associations specifically. So if you are a member-based org, we have got you as well. Okay, so this example here is from Quad City Symphony Orchestra. So this is another great Feathr user. She's really good with considering who has come to previous shows and who of those people might be interested in upcoming shows. And so she does a lot of really great things with email segmentation, segmenting her list to make sure that she's reaching the most relevant audiences. And she does this with affinity targeting as well. So they were hosting a Nightmare Before Christmas in concert show last or 2 years ago. And with affinity targeting, she was able to actually target people who had that in-market or purchase history interest in musicals, family movies, Broadway, horror movies, things like this. And so she built sort of a list of different affinities that she was able to target. And so I think, I don't remember with this one if it was, I think a lot of it was or instead of and. Obviously, you can do, a mom and she has young kids and she works in this industry or lives here, right? So that's kind of like creating that very niche group, but you can also do a campaign using the or part of the and you can target people who have an affinity for Broadway or musical shows or horror movies, things like that. So this was one big campaign kind of targeting all of the people who might be interested in a show like this, and the show was super successful. And then this was Christian Relief Fund. So they're another organization that's had huge success using Feathr, and they ran an affinity campaign for last year's end of year appeal. So they do child sponsorships and they also collect donations for all of the work that they do. And so they were actually targeting what they called affluent empty nesters. So this is obviously going to be a certain demographic age-wise, right? People who their kids have moved out, they may be retired or, at least in their 50s and in a certain income bracket. So you can narrow that down. So you're kind of really hitting that people who have disposable income to give to a cause and they're of a certain age where they're more likely to have that money and they might be looking for something to do, something to invest in. And then also because this is a faith-based organization, they also targeted people who have an affinity for donating to religious causes. And they also geofence churches and things like that. So they really kind of honed in on that audience as well because that audience performs well for them. But I think this is also just a good example of on the left, you can see one of the ads that they actually used in their affinity campaigns, and they use these in geofencing campaigns, search keyword as well, because the CTA says learn more. So it is that really top of funnel kind of, this is probably the first time a lot of these people have seen this organization. So you don't want to bombard them with an ask up front. You want to kind of lead with who you are, some nice imagery, and just a general CTA to come to your site to learn more. And then on the right, you can see some ads that they used further down the funnel. So this might have been a retargeting campaign, an email mapping campaign. So somebody who is somewhat familiar with CRF, whether they've visited the site a couple times from those affinity ads, right? Or from Facebook or something like that. Maybe it's somebody who knows about the organization and has donated in the past, but hasn't donated for a while. They might have their email address, so they could run an email mapping campaign and serve them ads like this. You already know about us, you know what we do, come back, sponsor a child. So just kind of showing the difference between the messaging in those top of funnel campaigns, awareness campaigns versus further down the funnel.
All right. That is all we have today.
Yeah, this should say thank you.
Yeah, this should
Thank
say
you for
thank you.
joining.
There it is now.
Yeah, perfect.
Thank you all for joining, and thank you for staying late to those of us or those of you who are still with us. We really do appreciate the extra time that you gave us today, and I hope that this was insightful to some degree. If you do have any questions about this, please feel free to reach out to your CS, your customer success representative, whether that is customer success at feathr.co, or if you're working with a strategic pro or pro strategist, you can reach out to them directly. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you all so
And
much.
if you dropped a yes in that second part, we will connect you with your CSM. But yeah, thanks again to everyone for joining, and we'll hopefully see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.